Hello and welcome to the Mum Boss Method. Today we are talking about setting standards, not following rules. And this is following a couple of conversations I've had with some clients this week. One with one of my one-to-one clients yesterday, and then another with one of my hotter than hell clients, both on really similar kind of topics. And I thought I'd share them with you, and I thought I would share how setting standards rather than following rules can help to keep you consistent and achieve your goals, whatever your goals might be. And I really mean whatever your goals might be, because you can apply this to your health, your fitness, but you can also apply it to things like housework, to things that you do in your job. So anyway, like I said, I was having a chat with one of my one-to-one clients yesterday. She's also doing the Hotter Than Hell program, which, if you weren't aware, is now the only way to start working with me, is that you need to do this program first. And she said that she felt like she was failing, because we were on day 3 of Hotter Than Hell, and she said, I haven't achieved all of the things that I need to do consistently every day. I've not been able to tick all of them off. I've not done all my steps. I've not, managed all my protein, all of these things. And this is exactly where the traditional rules have tripped you up in the first place. You set yourself these hard rules in everything: calories, workouts, not drinking alcohol, not eating chocolate or biscuits, getting the washing done, all of these things. And you set yourself these hard rules, and if you don't keep the rule, you deem yourself a failure. You tell yourself you're a failure. And most often what happens with that is that you then decide to give up. You decide to give up, or you punish yourself, or you just speak really unkindly to yourself in the mirror. And so here's what I want you to do instead. I want you to set standards, not rules. Standards that are flexible to your life. Okay? I want you to decide what you're going to do on your best days and your best weeks, and what you're going to do on those days where the stars align and it all works out. On those days, I want you to decide what your optimum will be. Right? I want you to decide what's like the gold standard here. Okay? And this could be for anything, but I'm going to use steps as an example because it's a really easy one to use, right? And we've all heard this magical 10,000 step number that we should all be trying to get. Okay, so on my optimum best day, when I've got the most time, my optimum steps might be 10k, and realistically, if I'm really honest, it's about 11k for me. If the dog's had 2 or 3 walks, and I've been to the gym and done a little warm up, and then I've pottered around the house and done the normal stuff that we do, I would normally get 11,000 steps on a reasonably good day. I mean, if I'm out going for like long walks and stuff, it's different. But like on a good normal day, it's like 10, 11,000. But there are days when getting out is a little bit more difficult. And it just so happened that on the day that I had these 2 conversations with my clients about the same thing, it was one of those days that was a little bit more difficult. And that's a Wednesday. And Wednesdays are just a very desk-bound day for me. I don't normally go to the gym on a Wednesday. Also, obviously, it's the winter, so the weather's been a bit grotty. Whilst the dog had 2 walks last night, or yesterday, they weren't walks around the field because it was so rainy. So on a Wednesday, like 7, 8k is much more realistic to me. Now, these numbers can be whatever work best for you. You don't have to hear me say that and go, right, my best day needs to be 10k, and then my minimum standard day needs to be 7 to 8k. Do what works best for you. If you're starting off at 2k for your steps, getting to 8K is not going to be realistic. But you need to be honest with yourself, and I'm going to talk about that a bit more at the end. So yesterday, it was a Wednesday and it was raining, and I hadn't managed to get the dog to the field. He got 2 walks, and then I walked to and from work in the evening, and then I just so happened to need to walk to go and meet Charlie after his guitar lesson. And so I did actually end up getting 11,000 steps. But that won't happen every Wednesday. I know it won't happen every Wednesday because normally my husband walks to meet Charlie. Now, let's take this morning for an example. Okay, I woke up at 4 a.m. and I couldn't get back to sleep, but obviously I dozed just before my alarm went off. So when I woke up, I was so groggy. And normally I would be up, I'd do my morning routine, I'd be straight on my bike. But this morning I made a cup of tea. I grabbed my laptop and I went back and sat in my bed and I did a little bit of work rather than in bed, rather than at my desk. And then when it was 10 to 7 and I knew I needed to go and make sure Charlie was up, I went and I made sure he was up. I went and made his smoothie. And then I put my workout clothes on and I promised myself at least 20 minutes on my bike. Now, I could have excused myself. I could have said, I'm too tired, I've only had about 5.5 hours sleep, I'm not going to do cardio today. And, you know, the thought did cross my mind, I'll be honest. The thought crossed my mind. But here's the thing. My minimum standard that I have set myself for cardio in a week is 3 sessions. And normally I would do that bike session on Wednesday, but yet I had to swap my gym days around this week because my husband's gone to Barcelona. So I needed to be home to get Charlie up today. So I need to get 3 cardio sessions in between now and Sunday. And if I'd missed today, that would have only left me Friday, Saturday and Sunday to get my cardio sessions in. And it would have been a real push because how am I going to do that? I would have been knackered. So this morning, instead of saying no, I'm not going to do the bike, I promised myself that 20 minutes. And I actually did 28. And it was only 28 instead of 30 because I started at about 12 minutes past 7 and I need to leave with Charlie at 20 to 8. So I couldn't quite get the last 2 minutes in. But I still did 28 minutes. So that's 1 ticked off because I've set myself this minimum standard. Now, when you take this approach, there is, you know, it is not the all or nothing approach. There's less pass or fail. They're not rules that someone else has made up. They are standards that you have set for yourself. Now, this, of course, does rely on you being honest with yourself, okay? And you really asking yourself those honest questions. And what that means is that not every day can be a minimum standard day. Otherwise, you are never going to get anywhere. If every day is a minimum standard day, you're always going to be working to that minimum standard. Now, look, that minimum standard might still get you the results that you want, but how are you ever going to push past that? How are you ever going to prove to yourself that you can do hard things? So you do need to get honest with yourself. And as I've proved in the last 2 days, like yesterday I thought I would only get my 8,000 steps, but as it turned out I got 11,000. This morning I only promised myself 20 minutes on the bike and I did 28. So I'm already banking extra by just setting my sights on my minimum standards. And you know, there's something here, in my Hot Life membership, we were talking about this on Monday, how we make excuses. I was asking them, you know, what are the things that are getting in your way at the moment? And a lot of them were saying, my own excuses, my excuses are getting in my way. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. And so one of the things that we talked about is how excuses are just stories that you tell yourself that keep you stuck. Or actually, I should rephrase that. Excuses are stories that you tell yourself that keep you comfortable, but actually what they do is they keep you stuck. And nothing good ever comes from your comfort zone. So what we actually decided in my Hot Life membership was that for November, we were no longer, I wrote it down and I want to read it out so that I don't get it wrong. Where's it gone? Here it is. In November, I'm no longer available for staying in my comfort zone, because that's where an excuse keeps us. So you can really, give in to all of those excuses, and you can set these standards, and then every day you can make an excuse as to why you won't get to optimal. But getting to your goal really relies on you getting really honest with yourself and not being available for missing your standards. And here's something I want you to ponder. Like I say to my clients, I want more for you than what you're currently accepting of yourself. I want more for you. You're currently accepting, you're currently settling. You don't need to settle. You can set standards for yourself and you can work towards meeting those standards. And those standards can be in service of you and your goals, not the standards. I always say to people, to my clients who are like, oh, there's just so much washing. And as someone who's had a broken washing machine up until an hour ago, I always say, does everyone have clean pants? Yes? Okay, good. We don't need to worry about the washing then. As long as there's clean pants, because let's be honest, they could wear yesterday's clothes. So I want you to set some standards for yourself, and I also want you to make yourself unavailable for staying in your comfort zone through November. If you want to know more about how I can support you in doing this, come and find me on social media or click on the link in the show notes where you can apply to work with me. I would love to help you. If you enjoyed this episode, please do share it. But remember, this is not about pass or fail. This is not about all or nothing. This is about it wanting more for yourself and setting the standards to help you do that. Okay, have a good week and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.